Good morning, everybody. It's Bishop Deb. It is Friday. We're getting through the month of March. And I thought I'd do a prayer on the go. I'm out and about, and I've got to hit the little variety store on my way back from dropping off my son. So I thought I'd take the time to just say hello. It's been a while. I've been so busy. And then with world stuff happening, it's kind of knocks the socks off you for a bit. It's hard news in the world. And now we got the leaders meeting over in Europe and strategizing what they're going to do, and it seems like we go from the fire into the frying pan, as it were. We're just, and there's still whether people want to believe it or not, COVID's still a thing. We might not be mandated to wear masks anymore, but we certainly are seeing numbers still. It's not like it's disappeared. I'm out of here. It's still around. So, still being very cautious. I'm wearing a mask and just thinking of ways to bring in some income, because last year I did 5 weddings with COVID, pandemic and all. And, people are still nervous. I'm seeing a lot of masks, and I'm really happy about that, because I think we're all aware, for the most part, that it's still not gone, and we could still get it. I have friends who contracted it in the last few weeks. So, near me it shall not come, I keep saying. Near us it shall not come. Even if it's mild in this form, nobody wants to get sick, and the effects are long and far-ranging. So, rather not get it. Thank you. So, yeah, still being cautious there. But lots of things happening. Everywhere you look, there's a headline that grabs you. There's such angst and just, you're soaking in it, kind of fear and sorrow and grief as world events unfold with Ukraine. I'm just so amazed, shocked that we're into the second month, maybe the third by now, and it's just they're pulverizing the country with missiles and all kinds of things, and displacing people. I saw a report that 1 out of every 2 Ukrainian children are displaced, and it's not stopping. So again, we feel so helpless being on this side of the world and watching things happen. And maybe it was better in other World War times when we didn't know what was going on, right? I don't know. You had to wait for news, as opposed to, watching a reporter who's embedded or who's over there where the action is, brave souls that they are, bringing us the pictures. I don't know. We're just in a very weird phase of life, of times. And so we have to stay grounded. It's overwhelming. It hits us on every level. Because we relate. That could be Toronto. That could be our part of the world, wherever you live, happening. And so we get nervous that, not only is it happening over there, but it could happen over here. I mean, Ottawa got run over by protesters not that long ago, who kind of took hold of the downtown core. Had they been any more militant, it was not peaceful. There were a lot of people who were affected that live there. It could have been very dangerous. It could have been very dangerous. So, luckily we didn't have to deal with that kind of insurrection. But, everywhere we look, our the things that we hold dear, our principles of democracy, of fairness, of equality, are being kind of challenged by those powers who would want to take control. And so we have to stay balanced in all of this. We have to remember what's important to us, each of us, our own moral compass. What is it that is important to you? What is it that, when you wake up in the morning, guides you in your day? You know, the feelings, the aspirations, the vision, and all that undergirds it, you know, our moral compass. It's really important that we stay firm to what we believe and uphold the rights of all, uphold the rights of others. We are known as peacekeepers in Canada. We should also be known as rights keepers. You know, we do value diversity in the mainstream. We do value freedom of religion. We do value freedom of speech. Even if we don't like what the other person is saying or are opposed to them on every level, everybody agrees that we have a right to protest and we have a right to say what's on our mind. We've stopped listening to each other, I think. You know, we have our own position, and whatever somebody else says is like, blah, blah, blah. I don't agree with you, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not hearing you. This is what I think. It's time that we kind of open dialogue again so that we can talk to one another without getting upset. People have a right to their own opinions. You know, over the last few months, as people have come up against the mandates, especially as we've been upholding them in our church, you know, we have wedding officiants. If you're going to be with a couple, you've got to observe the rules. You've got to, you know, if you don't want to be vaxxed, that's fine. But be aware that venues are not going to accept you without a passport to show that you've been vaccinated. Couples should know that you aren't vaccinated. And when you're doing a wedding, you know, physically distance, then take off your mask. But wear the mask. Keep yourself safe, your family safe. People are coming, especially in Niagara, they come from all over the place. And, you know, now from the U.S. and other countries. So we got this far. We got to keep ourselves safe. It's not a big deal to pop on a mask. It's common courtesy now. So until this thing really goes away, becomes endemic instead of pandemic, I've had a couple of people who have been very upset. I've been called a dictator, and I've left our little church, and that's fine. Go where you're happy. That's important, that, you know, you find a place that feels like home. And if this isn't it, then I hope you find a place that is. But we're not going to change our mind about safety because a few people don't believe in the mask mandate, which is, you know, the restrictions are lifted anyway. What is your issue? And that's the thing that we keep bumping up against. People are still angry, aren't they? Now they can't really blame the masks, so but they got to get something else. Now it's the government. Well, it's always been the government, but, you know, they've got to. We have to find a place for our anger. So that's a really good thing to reflect on as you go into your weekend. What are you angry about? And chances are it's not the government. Chances are it's not the mandates that were in place to keep us safe. But there's something that has tagged us, that has inspired us as we watch our friends, and maybe yourself, maybe you are, you know, on that whole convoy trucker thing. Maybe you found that inspirational. But we need a place to put our anger, because what's been happening and what continues to happening is unfair. It's really sucky. You know, the last 2 years, we have feared for our lives. We have been in lockdown for a lot of it. We've been forced to stay home without employment, a great many of us. Business is shut down. And the government has really actually taken care of us quite well, all things considered, supplying money so that we can stay home. And so what are you angry about? What are you sad about? What are you grieving? I find that I'm irritable lately. And, I'm tired lately. And I'm not alone. There are a lot of folks that I'm talking to who feel the same way. We're just fatigued. We're tired. We've been bombarded, right? So we need to be gentle with ourselves because we've been through trauma. We're not in Ukraine. We're not getting shelled or we're not hiding in a basement. But we've been through something as well. And for some of us, it's just as terrifying and just as traumatic because all the landmarks in our lives have been moved around. So for today, remember, today is not tomorrow, and there are good things happening in our lives too. And that's where we have to focus. We can be aware of the bad news, but we have to think about the good. We have to focus on the good. We have to focus on what is important and what makes us happy, what brings us joy. And that will make such a difference in the way we go through our day. So, I just, a little rambly today, but, we're okay. It might not feel okay, but we are okay. In this moment, we're okay. In this moment, I'm watching the sunrise across the river, and I'm watching the cars go along the road in a whole different country. The U.S. is right across the river from me, and I'm watching people slow down and take in the morning, and they're getting on with their day. People that I'll never meet, but I'm enjoying that. Just thinking, wow, money's different. They've got Biden as their president. Just, a matter of, I don't even know how, it's not very wide here, but we're coming to the mouth of Lake Ontario, at Lake Ontario. So it's not very wide. So if they get out of the car, I would see people walking around. Wouldn't be able to make out their features, but that's how close it is. And I'm watching the birds looking for their breakfast. So that's where I'm focused right now, on how life goes on, how everything has a reason, a season, a cycle, and we'll get through this. And I hope we get through it wiser and stronger and more kind, more compassionate. That's my wish. That's my prayer. So we pray for the people in need right now. We pray for all of the folks around the world who need to know healing touch, for the embattled healthcare workers who just keep keeping on amidst the changing rules and regulations and bracing for more cases now that the mandates have been lifted, because the numbers will go up. We just pray for people everywhere, in our homes, in our works. And, I pray for you guys, you pray for me. We're going to get through it. What's the one thing that you can be grateful for today? One thing. Focus on that. If you get a bunch, focus on them. I'm just grateful that I have people who love me. I'm grateful for exciting ideas that I'm working on. I'm grateful for cross orders that are coming in. I'm grateful for all the ways in which my life is good and getting better. It's just that simple. Just those little affirmations will help us so much as we get through our day. Anyway, I'm going to say goodbye for now. The sun coming up is breaking through the clouds, and it's just gorgeous. I'll try to get a picture. And I appreciate that. Maybe we'll have a nice day that isn't rainy. But until then, until next time, I will be keeping you all in prayer. You take care. God bless.